I'm now the researcher with an outstanding figure in international academia, Professor Jeffrey Sachs, who is a world-renowned professor, best-selling author, innovative educator, and global leader in sustainable development. He is university professor and director of the Center for Sustainable Development at Columbia University, where he directed the Earth Institute from 2002 until 2016. He's also president of the UN Sustainable Development Solutions Network, co-chair of the Council of Engineers of the Energy Transition, commissioner of the UN Broadband Commission for Development, academician of the Pontifical Academy of Social Sciences at Vatican, and a Thomas Sri Jeffrey Shi Honorary Distinguished Professor at Sunway University. He has been special advisor to 3 United Nations Secretaries General, and currently he serves as the SDG advocate under Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Professor Sachs spent over 20 years as a professor at Harvard University, where he received his BA and master's and PhD degrees. He received 42 honorary doctorates, and his recent awards include the 2022 Tan Prize in Sustainable Development, the Legion of Honor by decree of the President of the Republic of France, and the Order of the Cross from the President of Estonia. His most recent books are The Ages of Globalization, Geography, Technology, and Institutions, 2020 Mechanics in Action for Sustainable Development. Last but not least, Professor Sachs is also a trustee of the Cyprus Research and Education Foundation, the foundation that established the Cyprus Institute, and we're proud to have you here with us today. Professor Sachs.
Greetings to friends. Thank you so much for having me with you today, and thank you for letting me share a few remarks with you about the state of the world and our current challenges. We're still reveling in the wonderful visit we had to Cyprus just a few weeks ago, and looking forward to being back with you very, very soon. Thank you for mentioning my recent book, The Ages of Globalization, which tries to trace human history from the Paleolithic to the digital era, a time span of 70,000 years. And while we were in Cyprus, I was reflecting that all of that history is very vividly evident in your wonderful country. So everything about the ages of globalization can be told from the Cyprus perspective. It's all there, usually within walking distance, to see all of the ages in one place. Well, not for the first time in human history we're in a period of turmoil, but the stakes are, of course, extraordinarily high right now. I use sustainable development as my shorthand to describe what we're aiming to accomplish in this world, or at least what we should be aiming to accomplish for the common good, meaning an inclusive agenda that aims for economic well-being, social justice, environmental sustainability, and peace. And all 4 of these items are proving to be elusive, much less achieving them together. The world economy is probably the most successful element of all of these 4 dimensions of sustainable development, because the world economy on average is rich and continues to get richer. But of course, it's extraordinarily uneven in its performance over different geographies and across time. And the mood right now in the world economy is one of great uncertainty as basic trade relations, financial relations, global value chains are being deliberately broken by the U.S. Government at this point. The second dimension of sustainable development, social justice, sometimes even falls off the radar screen. But the world is not only unequal in its economic performance, but remarkably unjust in many other dimensions. We have at least 1 billion people in the world, roughly 1 in 8, struggling every day for survival. We have hundreds of millions of people in one way or another caught up in global conflicts. We have still huge inequalities and often widening inequalities within our societies. The environmental crises, I don't really need to elaborate except to say that all of our efforts over the last 30 years on climate change, biodiversity, preventing deforestation, preventing the spread of deserts in the arid regions have not been successful. We are in a period of accelerating global climate change. We are in a period of accelerating loss of biodiversity. We have not succeeded in achieving the environmental objectives. And when it comes to this fourth pillar of sustainable development, the question of peace, because remember, SDG 16 is about peaceful and inclusive societies, and SDG 17 is about global partnerships. I think the mood is very dour indeed globally. The United States is basically pulling out of multilateralism and out of many of the UN bodies, if not out of the UN itself. And conflicts in your region are not only deadly, but not under control. The war in Ukraine is at an even more dangerous phase than it has been during the past 3 years. Ukraine's attack on Russia's strategic bombers a couple of days ago, while celebrated in the Western press, is a step towards nuclear Armageddon. Ukraine, in my view, is utterly reckless, probably guided by Western intelligence agencies, and out of control. And we should not be attacking Russia's strategic air force deep inside Russia. This is a provocation to nuclear war, and it's absolutely dangerous. The war next door to you in Gaza, in my view, is a genocide, and Israel is completely out of control. So this is an extremely dangerous time, and we're not making much progress on reaching solutions. So what is my very brief thought about constructive approaches to this situation? First, I believe that these conflicts are the greatest enemy to sustainable development that we face. We see it in Europe. Aid budgets have been slashed, and military spending is on the rise. The political leaders across Europe are basically devoting their time to rearmament. This is true in all of the major countries. Yesterday, Britain unveiled its new war preparations. Germany, massive increase of military spending. France, large increases of military spending. European Commission, rearm, $800 billion project. To my mind, all of this is extraordinarily wrong-headed and dangerous because it's taking place in the absence of diplomacy. It's not taking place in conjunction with diplomacy. It's taking place in the absence of diplomacy and instead of diplomacy. The one thing that Europe is not doing is speaking with Russia to try to understand the mutual security needs of Russia and of the European Union, as if only the European Union or Ukraine has security interests and Russia has no security interests. I don't agree with that view at all. Similarly, the war in Gaza is fundamentally a one-sided affair in which Israel rejects any political solution to the question of Palestine very explicitly. The current government in Israel is, from its core, a government committed to eliminate the idea of a state of Palestine. Uh, and without a state of Palestine, there can be no peace in the Middle East. There can be slaughter, there can be ethnic cleansing, there can be uh, uh, brutality, but there cannot be peace. And so this is a second issue. In general, the geopolitical uh, upheavals in the world reflect an unwillingness or inability of starting with the United States, but also including Europe, to see two sides of conflicts. Everything is cast as good versus evil, as offense versus defense, uh, and we live in, therefore, a world of delusion and illusion about these conflicts, unfortunately. And the things I'm saying probably rankle some of you, but I believe that what I'm saying helps to explain why we are in perpetual conflict right now. The alternative narrative that we're just facing the evil of Putin and Hamas is a kind of a comic book version of reality. The reality is that the West, as it is, the United States and Europe, need to see the other side of these conflicts to understand them and to come to a diplomatic solution to them. Without that, we're not going to achieve sustainable development. Now, the second issue is the United States, which is under Donald Trump, unilateralist and so-called sovereigntist, meaning that the U.S. administration rejects multilateralism as a point of principle. The U.S., according to the sovereigntists, should not be bound by the UN, should not be limited by treaties, should not even be engaged, I would say, with the allies in NATO or other treaty-based institutions. And that's why the United States is essentially leaving these institutions. I think that this is a grave mistake of the United States, um, and one that is not likely to be reversed anytime soon. Uh, so I think that the question for the rest of the world is how to uh, respond to the United States, not how to change the position. Trump or Vance or this administration will be in executive power in the United States at least until January 20th, 2029. And that means that we're in for many, many years in which there is no true multilateralism at the global scale, at least backed by the United States. It seems to me that there are two major implications of that. One is that to the maximum extent possible, the rest of the world should respond by underscoring the rest of the world's commitment to a multilateral world. That means that the rest of the world should respond to Trump by re-emphasizing the role of the United Nations, the determination to have international rule of law, the determination to live under UN treaties and under the UN Charter. That has very specific implications for Europe, the most important of which is that Europe should not follow the United States in its break with the multilateral system, and the United States should not blindly follow the United States in waging an increasingly harsh Cold War with China, much less the possibility of a hot war. So, from Europe's point of view, the question is whether Europe follows the US line and talks about a divided world, a broken world, a world of conflict with China, with Russia, and so forth, or whether Europe actually rises to the occasion to defend the UN order. Right now, the signs are not very good. Mainly, Brussels has remained psychologically and politically dependent on the United States at a time when the United States is an unstable and destructive force of the international order. The second point that I would emphasize is the importance of constructive realism and regionalism, I meant to say. And that is countries need to solve problems with their neighbors. This is true of Cyprus with Turkey. It's true of Ukraine with Russia. It's true of Japan with China. We will not be able to make any real progress on energy transformation, climate, or anything else in any part of the world where the neighbors are at each other's throats. And unfortunately, in almost all regions of the world right now, neighbors are at war or in broken diplomacy. It's obviously true in Cyprus, literally. It's true in the Eastern Mediterranean region more generally. It's true between Ukraine and Russia, obviously, trivially. It's true between India and Pakistan, and it's true in East Asia between China, Japan, Korea, and the Philippines, where the U.S. has its military bases. My own experience briefly in working in all of these regions extensively for the last 30 years is that there are no regional solutions to energy, biodiversity, fisheries, coastal regions, marine environments, or any of the other core challenges of sustainable development if there is a war zone or even a frozen conflict zone, as in Cyprus. There need to be political solutions to these conflicts in order to be able to make any serious progress. When we have meetings now on issues like climate or environment, and half the countries don't show up because they don't talk to the other half, it means that practically speaking, we're shouting into the storm without really having any constructive impact. So my mood is, as you can see, a rather somber one. I don't believe that we have any shortage of financing or technology or know-how to decarbonize the energy system or to protect fisheries or to protect endangered species in fragile ecosystems. I don't think our problems are technological or economic. I think our problems are overwhelmingly political and overwhelmingly geopolitical. Our biggest problem in the world today, in my view, is our inability to cooperate with others and our inability to have a balanced and respectful relations with others rather than dehumanizing them, treating them as perpetual enemies, and arming or going to war with them. I find that, of course, that is our perhaps fate as humans from time immemorial, but it is also extraordinarily dangerous at this time in the nuclear age when one mistake means not only war, but actually the end of civilization itself. This week was a very bad week in that regard. We have taken a major step closer to Armageddon this week. What has shocked me is that it has happened and it's not even noticed. It's in fact applauded. Applauded how clever the Ukrainians are to blow up Russian strategic bombers. This is a mindset that is nearly suicidal, in fact. So let me stop there to say that sustainable development remains our proper compass. Uh, it is hard work. It requires a deep understanding of engineering systems, physical systems, economics, and finance. So it's a tall order, but it certainly cannot be accomplished in the context of conflict. It can only be accomplished in the context of geopolitical cooperation and peace. And so that, to my mind, is our major challenge. So thank you very much. I apologize for a little bit glum assessment, but I think that this is our state of affairs today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Stark. We may now disconnect.